Hello, friends. Welcome to this episode of this important podcast, How Qigong and Tai Chi Changed My Life. I already have a smile on my face from listening to my own intro where I say, take a breath. I love being reminded to take a breath, even if I'm reminding myself. Today's guest is a very special one for me. Dr. Seth Torregiani is a practicing osteopathic physician, writer, and Qigong teacher in Wilmington, Delaware. He is board certified in internal medicine, pediatrics, and lifestyle medicine. He holds a DO degree and, wait for it, an MFA in nonfiction from Goucher College. He is certified to teach Qigong and Tai Chi through the Integral Institute of Qigong and Tai Chi. I wanted to read his formal bio so that you can begin to learn who the people are who practice this special modality. Hi, Seth. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Honestly, just before we came on, I was saying to you, I'm particularly delighted to have you as a practicing physician on as a guest to have this important conversation. I'm very curious about what you're going to share with us because I think that our helping professionals can really benefit from these special modalities. So tell me your Qigong and Tai Chi story. How has Qigong and or Tai Chi saved your life or changed your life?
You're absolutely correct. It really did both. It saved my life and it changed my life. And I guess I would start, I was exposed to Qigong probably about 20 years ago when I took an acupuncture course for physicians, and it was in California, and the teacher would do Qigong every morning. And so that was kind of my first exposure to it. And over the years, I would take some lessons, or I would take a Tai Chi course for a few months, but it never really stuck. And then COVID hit, and we continued to see patients, sort of at a reduced rate, but we still saw patients. And if you remember, that was before vaccines, when everyone had a mask, and it terrified me. I was convinced I was going to get COVID. I was worried I was going to bring it home to my family and infect them. And at the time, I was overweight. I had high blood pressure. And so I was a perfect candidate for getting COVID and ending up in the hospital on a respirator.
Oh.
And so I got very burnt out, like many of my colleagues. And I wasn't even in the hospital. I was seeing patients in the office, but patients still wanted to be seen. They still needed to be seen. And I would wear 2 masks, and I would wear gloves, or I would douse my hands in sanitary, solution.
Yeah.
And and that was life for a couple of, well, really for several months. And then we all survived. We got the vaccination and did okay. But then I actually had a small stroke.
Oh,
And
crap.
yeah. And it came as a shock. And like a good doctor, I ignored the symptoms. My main symptom was dizziness. And I just remember waking up feeling dizzy, and the dizziness got worse over the course of a day. And so I thought it was maybe a virus or something like that. And then next day went to the hospital, and they actually did an MRI, and they diagnosed me with a small stroke and very, very high blood pressure. So got that taken care of. It was basically, there was nothing to do for the stroke except, it had played out, and then I got my blood pressure under control, and then I came home. This was a few years ago. And I took a couple of months off from work. And at first I just started walking, just to start getting my life back into shape. And then I had remembered Qigong, and I looked up some courses on YouTube. And I found one that was done by a practitioner who was called 8 Brocades Qigong, which is a set of 8 postures.
Okay.
I started to do that. and it felt good, you know. And I did that every morning for a couple of months, and I was like, this is really, there's something here. I got stronger. I, it incorporated breathing, it incorporated mindfulness, all the things that I would do and I would talk to my patients about. And now finally I was bringing it into my own life.
Oh my God, just hold on one second. I have to just stop here for a second. Oh my gosh, I'm not kidding. I have chills. First of all, thank God, I'm glad that you're all right
Thank you.
and from your stroke. Secondly, thank you for coming here in truth. I write notes. You don't know me, but I write notes like I'm listening.
Yeah.
And then you said, I ignored the symptoms.
Yes.
So I want to invite people to pay attention to what's happening here. A
Yes.
stroke is a brain attack.
Yep.
So let's remind people to tune into their health and well-being and be aware of, if something like sudden dizziness comes after burnout and overweight and high BP and terrified of COVID, let's pay attention, friends.
Absolutely.
Then you took time off work.
Yep.
That might have been, I don't really know you, but I'm imagining that might have been heroic in and of itself for you to take.
It was necessary. I mean,
Necessary.
it was really the universe saying you need to stop and
Right.
you need to take a little break.
And you listened.
Yep.
And thank God. And then you started walking. I'm going to leave my my opening episode to talk about how walking got me on the path as well.
Yes. Yep.
And then finally, and then I want you to continue your story. This was this is when I got chills. You said, I remembered that course instructor did Qigong, and then I looked it up online.
Yes.
And then you made a decision,
Mm-hmm.
you took action, and you just started doing these videos in
Yep.
the morning.
Yep.
So again, I'm here to say these modalities can help you in person, online. So,
Yep.
okay. So thank you letting me repeat this. I want people to stop and listen and understand this story. So you looked it up online, you started doing it, I think you said every morning.
Yep.
And then you said, what? I felt better.
Yes. Yes.
This is so great. Okay, so go ahead.
So and it was something I'd been interested in over the years, and I would maybe take a month of lessons, and then it would kind of sort of filter away. I got busy with other things, and for whatever reason, probably everything you just restated, it stuck this time, and I was like, and because it's really, you know. I hesitate to even call it an exercise. It becomes a lifestyle. It strengthens your body, but it also strengthens your mind and your breathing and your mindfulness. And that spoke to me, and I was ready to hear it.
Oh,
And I continued the 8 brocades for 2 or 3 months, and I was like, let me see what else is out there. And then there's a teacher named Robert Peng, P-E-N-G, who gave an online course at the Omega Center, which is a retreat center in New York. And so I took that, and that even deepened my practice even further. And so I started practicing his techniques. And then I said, well, what can I go? Where can I go from here? And then Robert Peng offered another course called Yi Jin Jing, which is another form of Qigong, which is works on strengthening the body, but also addresses all the emotions through the organs. Right, in Chinese medicine, the liver is can be the home of anger, the lungs of grief, the kidneys. And so each of those exercises worked on strengthening those organs related to emotion, and I felt so much better. And at that point, I was hooked. I was not going back. And then I was like, wow, I wonder if I can teach this. And so I looked up, and Roger Yanka, who you know well, had these courses online where you can become certified to become a Qigong teacher. And I followed through on that. And I've since, worked with other teachers and worked, I've been to Kripalu in Massachusetts
Yeah.
for another retreat. And now I'm teaching regularly, and it just keeps building from there.
This is so good. My gosh. I have quite a few people already signed up for guest recordings and all of that. But honestly, Seth, again, everything, people who know me, they know everything I do is totally extemporaneous. I didn't really know your personal story, maybe in our certification program for the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi, where we were together. I might have heard a bit, but I didn't remember. But honestly, I could just put out this conversation once a week, every week for a year and be extremely happy. I really mean it. So Dr. Roger Yanka wrote the book that got me started on my Qigong journey called The Healer Within. I had already been on the Qi journey, but I called it energy. I talk about that in my introductory episode. And so definitely full credit. I also have been certified level 1 and level 2 through the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi. I wrote down in big letters, like with a quotation, I felt so much better.
Yeah.
But I do want to take advantage of the opportunity of your being a practicing physician at this time to ask you, do you? And if so, how do you, or do you not, incorporate this conversation with your patients?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked, because it's an important question. So I actually work mostly with patients in pain. So with chronic pain, with acute injury, things like that. And um, you know, patients are really searching for solutions to their pain, and the medical system is not particularly good at addressing it. And qigong and these exercises, and even just the attitude that you develop from having practiced qigong, can be very helpful in that setting. And so I've started teaching my patients some very basic exercise. There's a real genius in qigong and tai chi. It's really meant to be an exercise in longevity, right? Because every morning you practice, you are moving all the joints through a range of motion. You are holding up your weight against gravity. And but more than just that, you're also incorporating mindfulness. Your mind is focused on the movements you're doing, and they're very slow, deliberate, mindful movements. And you're also bringing breathing into it. And so it's really the full package. And I think in Western culture, the attitude "no pain, no gain" still kind of holds. And I work actually out of a physical therapy practice, which is fine. Patients need physical therapy, but they work one area too much. And qigong really forces you to focus not only on the whole body, but it brings your mind and your spirit into it as well. So really, it's a perfect exercise. And in fact, I even have a class where I teach anybody who wants in the physical therapy practice. And
The actual PTs themselves?
not the PTs
Oh,
themselves, but
the
the
patients
patients.
who come in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so I absolutely incorporate the principles of Qigong and Tai Chi. The other thing that I'll just mention very quickly is there's a whole, which I'm sure you're aware of, there's a whole movement now involving the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve, and communicating safety to your body, which can help relieve pain. And again, these exercises, these qigong postures and tai chi postures, teach the body and teach the mind how to move safely in a way which reduces the pain. Right? If your shoulder hurts, but over time you do these very gentle exercises, your mind gets you're communicating to your mind that it's okay to move. And so the brain's part in pain reduces the pain. It says, oh, it's okay to do this. It's okay to move this way. So we don't need to send these messages of pain. We're going to let you proceed, normally. So yes. So
That's
yeah.
huge. I learned many years ago that the affirmation for the vagus nerve is "I am safe,"
Yes,
and
that's
you
exactly right.
invoked, safety. And oh my gosh, I just love everything about this. So I'm listening deeply to every word. I already had to turn over my page with notes,
Yeah.
and I realized as you were talking, so we were trained as level 2 Tai Chi teachers at the
Mhm.
Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi. And so you're choosing to teach at the PT practice for patients who are interested. You're also teaching
Yes.
by incorporating information with
Mhm.
your patients, which I'm really thrilled to hear, because to tell you the truth, we're all human.
Yeah.
And I'm a coach, so I work with clients, most days a
Yeah.
week, a few, and I incorporate it. That's my teaching modality.
Yeah.
I have done a couple of local classes. It's awkward for me. I've never taught before, but
Mhm.
anyone who wants, I'll teach every day. Come into my home, meet me on the sidewalk, and but you're really teaching your patients
Yeah.
in that way. And I realized as you were talking that I want to say to our viewers and listeners, in my introduction to the podcast, I invited you to grab your journal. And at the top, Seth had no idea. He hadn't heard my intro. I literally said, ask yourself, or say, I want to feel better. And so I want to invite you to get to the end of this and replay it now. Listen to it again with a different ear to support your own what? Mind, body, breath. It's the full package Dr. Torregiani shares with us here today. And so also, I want to say that Seth just said, I looked things up online. So I will drop in the notes the videos for Dr. Roger Yanka as a great place for you to start. Just look up those videos and see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So just another minute or two, Seth, is there
Mhm.
any final thing? By the way, isn't this a great conversation?
It's fantastic. Yes, I'm really enjoying speaking with you and
I
your audience. Yeah.
It's so good. So is there any last thought that you want to share?
Yeah, I guess so. I also teach at our local Jewish community center. I
Oh,
teach
okay.
qigong twice a week,
And
and
where
I
is
have
that
a
again? In Wilmington, Delaware?
Wilmington, Delaware,
Okay.
the Siegel Jewish Community Center, and we have a core group of 18 or 19 or 20 people who show up regularly, and it is a fantastic modality for older people,
Mm.
because again it exercises the whole body. So in 40 minutes or 45 minutes we can get a full workout and also incorporate mindfulness and a few minutes of meditation, and people really take to it.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
a
this is
remarkable
so good.
exercise. Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you're in the Wilmington area, head over
Yeah.
to the JCC and get some chi with Dr. Seth Torregiani. I just want to say thank you so much for
Thank
meeting with
you.
me today and sharing your honest, true story. And I think that we really had some game-changing conversation
Yeah.
for people today.
Great. It's been a
So
pleasure, Susan. Thank you.
yes, chi on, Seth. I look
Thank
forward to our next conversation in
you.
the
As do
future.
I.
Take good care.
Bye bye.